Are you feeling more fulfilled now that you're back to work?
On August 15th.
No. I need a vacation.
See the movie that critics are saying is an awesome,
Look at that.
crowd-pleasing, fist-pumping, all-out brawl of a film.
You're right about that.
They're coming after our family. Go fix this.
Oh, my.
Nobody 2, rated R, only in theaters August 15th.
Abercrombie's viral denim sale is back, and Spotify listeners get an extra 15% off with code SPOTIFYAF. Abercrombie is known for their denim. With 30 to 50% off all jeans, find out how denim should fit. Shop the viral denim sale in the Abercrombie app, online, or in stores. Valid in stores and online through August 11th, 2025 in U.S. and Canada. Excludes clearance, price reflects discount. Code valid in U.S. and Canada through August 11th, 2025. Exclusions apply. See details online.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast. This is our regular audio show where we want to catch you up on the latest Auburn news, discussions, scuttlebutt that are happening across social media and out and about in the Auburn experience, which to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. A better way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today. Ever to Podcast, episode actually 48. I do believe I said 48 yesterday. It was 47. Here we are. Episode 48. Today's date is August 6, 2025. Let's catch you up on the latest things, like we haven't talked about some practice stuff. So we're going to catch you up a little bit on that, what's been talked about, some of the major stories and that have transpired, what things that I think that are worth bringing up for football. We're also going to talk a lot of schedules. Yes, they are continuing to roll out lots of sports. We got some basketball, men's basketball news, just like we did the women's stuff earlier. We got some of that, some tennis as well, and maybe a few other things that we'll talk about in this space as well. So let's jump right into it right now. Obviously, football practice, fall football practice is prevalent right now for most of y'all that tune into any type of Auburn content. So we obviously need to spend some time talking about that. Now, I always stress this. When we're in spring practice, fall practice, a lot of times people will start buying into narratives that I think sometimes a little bit too quickly. And when I say that, it's not that anything that you're reading about isn't true, but I think sometimes we extrapolate those to the extent. Like, I'm already seeing some things about a particular player we're going to mention here in a second. Is he the starting, or is he going to be the second string running back at some point? I don't think that's necessarily the case, but it doesn't take away from the coolness of the story. So that's my little caution flag for all of you out there that are, consuming our content. I just don't see enough people kind of talking about the reality of how so much times we buy into this, for lack of a better term, propaganda. And I love positive propaganda, but I also want us to be well informed in how we're talking about things online. So let's try to keep that in that balance when we're out there on social media. Now, obviously, one of the coolest stories that's coming out of fall practice so far, with some validity to it, is how well that hometown hero Omar Mabson is doing in fall practice. Now, some of this is because of certain circumstances. This is what I talk about, having context in your storylines. So obviously, your running back room is Damari Alston, Jeremiah Cobb, Darrell Robinson, Alvin Henderson, and Omar Mabson. I put them in that order because that's just the logical order of seniority and kind of what's expected at this point. That doesn't mean that's necessarily the starting lineup or the distribution of carries in any way. That's being figured out right now. But that's probably the logical place to go, which means Omar, who just came in as a reclassified person in this last class for us, meaning that he's a lot younger still than everybody else. A lot of people wouldn't expect him to do a lot, but cool story, hometown kid coming to be with his hometown team, and he's getting some really great props, not from just his head coach, but from the lead guy. Damari Alston is telling reporters from there, y'all need to go check this kid out over here. He's doing some things as this young reclassified kid to already be playing college ball. And there's reasons for that. He's getting a few more opportunities. Jeremiah Cobb was announced that he had a broken thumb that he is working through right now that's limiting him in some ways. Darrell Robinson is still coming back from an injury that kept him out of spring. Alvin Henderson is new. So there's a few more different reps to be probably given around, which means more opportunities, which means you get to take advantage of those. And that's really what's happening here. I don't want people to get lost in the minutia of this and say, oh, that means Omar Mabson's going to be the backup running back. No, not necessarily, although he's doing very well for himself. You never know what might happen. But that's a cool storyline. I just think it's something that we should always bring up. Speaking of cool storylines, this was just announced yesterday. One of the greatest things about fall camp is when we see guys get the opportunities as walk-ons to become scholarship players, and we saw that last night. Cameron King, I think he's pretty active on social media. I see him a lot with our stuff out there, so shout out to him. Even more of a shout out, he got a Scully for this upcoming season. So he is going to be a scholarship athlete, a wide receiver, Cameron King, and he may play some other areas, but I believe he's mostly listed at wide receiver. That's a cool story. You saw a clip that they shared from the social media accounts of Auburn football. Go check that out, of Coach kind of bringing him up, asking him about some other things, and then surprising him, and everybody came up and celebrated with him. That's a great thing. His best friend apparently is Bryce Kane, too, so that was a pretty funny part of that clip, too, between him and Hugh Freeze. So great story for that, and I would just venture to say we're probably not done hearing about those stories. Usually it's a couple of those, if at least one, if not a couple of those. So maybe we'll be talking about another one soon. Maybe some other things from practice. Certainly you're seeing a lot of clips from practice about certain players, and everybody's excited about Eric Singleton. One of the things that's been talked about a lot is his route running and his speed on his route running, and how he's just able to create separation from people, which, being a guy that's not like the tallest wide receiver in the world, is very important to create opportunities for you to go get the ball if you're not having the length or the width of some of the other wide receivers out there. And it's not that like he's diminutive in any way, but if you haven't seen some of those things, those are really interesting to see. It definitely builds the hype and the validity to what we're expecting out of him coming from Georgia Tech. Those are some things to really pay attention to. And these are just a few stories from practice that we wanted to hit. There's plenty more things that have stuck out to me that I think are at least a little bit more legitimate than others, and I think that we should spend some more time talking about it. We're not done talking about practice. We're talking about practice? Yes, we are. All right, schedule time. This is an exciting day, folks. I have been chomping at the bit on our podcast, just hoping that we would get some solid schedule news for Auburn men's basketball. And as they do in most of the programs these days, they do it in pieces. Usually they kind of announce individual games or special events, and then they'll announce dates for like conference games, or the way it's going to shake out, home and away, but not dates. And then they release the full either non-conference or SEC schedule, or vice versa. This is the case here. We have the full SEC schedule to talk about today for Auburn men's basketball in this upcoming season with this brand new, essentially, team. So let me give you in a list real quick, and then I'll give you a few thoughts. We'll talk about this in more detail on the main podcast. Starting off the season at Georgia, home for Texas A&M and Arkansas, at Missouri, home for South Carolina, at Ole Miss, at Florida. That's going to be a tough one. Home for Texas, at Tennessee, Alabama at home, home for Vanderbilt, at Arkansas, at Mississippi State. Kentucky comes to Neville Arena, at Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU at home, and then finally, it's like they planned it or something, at Alabama to end the season on March 7th. That's from January 3rd to March 7th, and obviously the SEC tournament is in Nashville right after that. So that is your quick rundown of the SEC schedule. We'll go into more detail about that on the main podcast. Now, real quick, though, obviously no shock. Every time I see I go straight to the last game when they announce these SEC schedules to see what they're anticipating, because they know Auburn is good TV. It's usually Auburn and Tennessee or Auburn and Alabama, something like that. The people that are expected to be competing at the end of this thing. No shock that they would put the Alabama game as the last SEC game of the season for both teams. That's going to be incredible at Coleman Coliseum, that disgusting airplane hangar of an arena, if you want to call it that. Get 2 cracks at Alabama. You obviously get 2. Actually, you don't get 2 cracks at Georgia. I forgot about that this year. That's changing a little bit. I was anticipating that, and it's a little bit disappointing, to be honest with you. You got 2 cracks at Ole Miss, and why am I missing the other one? Arkansas, I think, is what it was. 2 cracks at Arkansas, 1 home and 1 away, obviously. Texas is coming here for the first time, I believe. That's going to be a cool one, having Kentucky at home, but it's going to be a tough SEC schedule going out to Norman, playing at Alabama, obviously, at Arkansas, at Tennessee, at Florida. Ooh, they are going to have to earn their worth on the road this year in the SEC, and so if they do that, there will be no mistaking that this team is a very, very good basketball team. More to come on that in the future. Do want to update you on some other programs and their scheduled announcements that you want to be aware of, because these are good opportunities for you to come support some of these teams, whether they're in your local area or going to be in Auburn. This is for men's tennis, and this is just their fall schedule. It's a little bit different. The actual conference competition begins in the spring, but they'll be as individuals and a team doing some of these things. A good one for local people in Montgomery, Alabama, not too far away, September 11th through 13th is the Blue Gray National Tennis Classic. That's a big event in the tennis world, so go check that out. They're going to be in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They'll be hosting the Battle on the Plains October 3rd through the 5th. That's obviously in Auburn, so come support them if you can. I don't believe that is a football weekend, so it may be a little bit less on the crowds in town, but this is a good opportunity for you to go out and try something else. I'm sure there will be other things going on as well. The ITA Southern Regional Championships will be in Tuscaloosa. Then they'll be in Birmingham for an event, and Athens, Georgia, and Orlando, Florida. So there are no excuses. There are a lot of places that Auburn people frequent. The furthest place, the most foreign place for us would be Tulsa, Oklahoma, or maybe Fayetteville, Arkansas. There's nothing on the way out there. So those are some of the places that you can see Auburn men's tennis in action. We hope that you'll go support them and check them out this year, and Coach Bobby Reynolds. They deserve your attention and your support, just like everybody else. So that's going to catch us up on most of the news today. There are some things we're holding off till tomorrow because we got jam-packed with some things right before the show went live here. So be anticipating those for another episode of Ever to Podcast tomorrow. If you're listening to this episode the day it comes out, or even before the evening, we do have Auburn Family Night every Wednesday night, unless there's a schedule conflict, at 9 Eastern time. It's an opportunity for you, the Auburn family, to take center stage, call in, and be a part of the show. 9 Eastern time, 8 Central on YouTube. Join us there if you would like to. We also would love to hear from you. Make sure you drop us a line, e2cnetwork@gmail.com, for anything. But you also can use our DMs on the direct messages, for those of you who don't know what that is, on the different social media platforms. Please do follow there as well. Thank you for tuning in to Ever to Podcast and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Till we talk to you again, War Eagle.